please come up on stage and deliver his closing remarks, please. Over to you.
Thank you, Dev. Good afternoon, everyone. It's my task, a very happy one, actually, to try and summarise what we've heard today, to consolidate some of these messages that we've had. And I have to say that sitting through today, I think myself, like all of you, will feel that there has been some tremendous insights from speakers. There's been some very wise and inspiring speakers addressing us today, and I'm going to go home tonight, I think, much more energised about not only my own relationship with India, but I think about the future relationship between New Zealand and India generally. There's that many juicy bits, I don't know where to start, but I am going to begin by just acknowledging, I believe, the very important signal and message from the governments, the respective governments of our two countries, in particular the presence of His Excellency Muktesh Pradeshi, the High Commissioner here, who is the principal representative of the Government of India. I think you've done us a great service being here at this function today. I'd also like to thank all of the MPs, New Zealand MPs that have arrived, and I know some of them have had to go, and all of the officials that are here as well. While this is the New Zealand or the India-New Zealand Business Council, and it is much about business, it is the role of our governments and our officials that help facilitate rather than frustrate business that makes what we do possible. And I'm very, very grateful for the attendance that's been here on behalf of all members of the India-New Zealand Business Council. The sessions today, as I say, there's just that many juicy bits. It's very, very hard to consolidate it at all. But I do want to just begin, I think, at session one. We've all heard the big numbers, the very seductive numbers about India. And I won't be repeating everything that you've heard today, but it is clear that this is one of the world's great opportunities for creating economic value and for sharing economic value. India is a country that is definitely in transition, and it's transitioning very, very quickly. It's had a long history of, and many of us have got war stories about the informality of India, but it is one that is in an evolution from informal to formal, and I believe that the numbers that come out of the opportunities for India are just staggering for anyone, and we're all aware of the opportunity that's there. RCEP was talked about today, and I think one of the key things that came out of that was that will be successful if it is collaborative rather than combative or confrontational. And that's definitely, it's very encouraging to hear a strong view that this could be resolved or concluded by the end of this calendar year. The conversation about India, though, came with a big warning that it's not the same as New Zealand. And while it is getting better, and it's very encouraging to see, I note on the World Trade Organization, the World Bank survey of ease of doing business, India is now 70th in the world of the 270 countries they monitor. It was just only 4 years ago 130th. So by external measures, India is becoming much, much more like what we're used to here. New Zealand regularly tops that survey, or in the top three. India is rapidly gravitating towards it, and they respect and acknowledge the contribution that New Zealand businesses, New Zealand government and New Zealand psyche can add to that process. So I think deepening trade and taking this relationship to the next level is definitely gaining momentum. Judith Swales from Fonterra talked about the steps that they're taking in India, and it's quite interesting that this is a great marriage between New Zealand's deep technology or expertise in dairy and the opportunity that really exists in India. And they've had a couple of goes at this, and they're having another go at it, taking a different approach this time. And I think there's a lesson in that too, that you don't always succeed the first time you try something. But there's no such thing as failure in business. There's only another learning experience. And I think we'll all be watching that relationship and that business very, very closely. Ami Sachinard, I think, really inspired me. She took some very, very simple messages, and I'm sure that they resonated with all of you, about trade is not just about what India can do for New Zealand or what New Zealand can do for India. It is about mutual benefit. She gave us a translation of that very, very poignant Maori phrase that is used here. It's not the contents. It's not just the contents of my basket that's important. It's also the contents of your basket as well. And you need both of those to actually grow. There was one question that popped up, and I thought it really hit one of the most important notes that there are in this whole the summit conversation. And it was that question about, have we got the cultural capital to make this work, to make this grow? And much of the conversation, I think, was about the need for us in New Zealand and the need for Indians to actually get to know each other. And it is, there's no doubt that business is facilitated by trust. That having a good idea is one thing, but the first thing that anyone doing due diligence looks at is who are the people who are involved in this and do I want to do business with them. And for those of us who've been in partnerships, in business partnerships, it's as much like a marriage as anything else. Things go wrong, things go right. You grow together in it. So that understanding the culture of India for New Zealanders is absolutely fundamental to having a successful relationship. The second session was open, and I think Graham Morton described it well, where they sort of opened the aperture on this and had a wider look at the macro level. And it is clear that New Zealand and India are very well aligned on those macro objectives, which is very encouraging, and much of this coming from our shared heritage, but possibly more so just from our shared humanity. But being able to describe those and phrase those strong values about our relationship is very important, that we've got that dialogue right. Being on the bus, as Bav Dillon talked about, is great, but you're not going to be on that bus for long if you've misunderstood the culture, and you do, because there isn't one bus in India, it is multiple buses in India, and sometimes they've even got the wrong destination on them, so you have to understand it well. Susanna Jessup nailed this perfectly, talking about the soft diplomacy that was critical in building confidence and trust. And we all understand that business isn't just about hard diplomacy, about the numbers. You have to enjoy doing it. You have to be doing it for a reason. It's got to give you a reason to jump out of bed in the morning, because it takes a lot of energy, emotional energy, to make it work. It doesn't happen on its own. And building the trust and the confidence in people is a key to seeing you ride through the ebbs and flow of business. Also in this, and again, it's about what's in your basket, and what I want from yours is this concept of shared value. And I know in my business, in India, one of the most important things that has driven us in our unity as a company has been our very, very clear focus that it's not all just about me, it's not all just about you, that this is about the survival of the entity or the growth of the entity and what it can do for its community. And I think those values have actually sustained us very, very well for the time that I've been in there. I've only got a little while left, so I'm going to pull it together. The other message, young people. We have to invest in young people. We've got to get them, young New Zealanders into India. We've got to build the New Zealand brand. They do trust us already, and don't underestimate for 1 minute simple things like the way our cricketers behaved at that appalling refereeing loss in the World Cricket match. That will last us for a generation, that, hey, those guys are the good guys. Session 3, very, very quickly, I mean, this was a high resolution look, and I think there's no one who couldn't be inspired by Joe Penichuk and by Carmen Vaselic's stories on what they're doing and their people taking risks, people building excellence in what they do, and that is valued. It is not a copy-paste from New Zealand. It is about being adaptable to the conditions there, and it is about being patient. And we've got some great examples of people who've executed their businesses well with those challenges. I would say to Liz, you're already going to win in India, Maori business from New Zealand, because you've got empathy. India is a country that's had 400 years of colonialism, and immediately there's a strong empathy, I think, between New Zealand Maori and India, and certainly my experience in that has been that you're going to be respected and you're going to win in India if you understand them as well. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, high value trade started. We had an insight into that, and a couple of key things there. You know, the value for New Zealand is in its IP, and we have got that. India needs that. Leveraging our technology with the scale of India is an opportunity that's second to none. And I guess the one comment that really sticks with me is it does feel like, to me, after today, that we've only just begun. And I think that today's conversation and the work that's going on will take us forward to the next level, and it will be a very exciting future for both India and New Zealand's trade. Thank you.